All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, whenever the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens get together on the gridiron, you know that there is going to be some paint swapping going on, okay? And today's contest in Western Pennsylvania embodied that with first place in the AFC North on the line. And as usual, when it comes to the Ravens facing the Steelers, the defenses rule the roost. And it was Pittsburgh's defense today that forced a fumble by Ravens running back Derrick Henry early on in the first half, which led to the game's first points, a field goal from Chris Boswell. And in all, this Pittsburgh defense forced three turnovers today by Baltimore. Now, Justin Tucker, the Ravens' all world kicker, uncharacteristically missed a pair of field goals today, while Chris Boswell for the Steelers connected on six. Okay. You look at the game when you dissected 12 penalties today by the Ravens, and you had a Steelers defense which frustrated Lamar Jackson all afternoon long as the reigning MVP was a 16 to 33 passing for 207 with a touchdown and a pick. The drop passes by the Ravens today and so many missed opportunities on their part as they fell to the Steelers today by the score of 18 to 16. Pittsburgh was able to cast the first die today with their victory, but of course, these two behemoths in the AFC will meet again on Saturday, December 21st in Baltimore for the rematch. But look at it like this: if you're the Steelers, first things first, you are happy to get the win because now you're 8-2 and you're two games up on Baltimore in the loss column, and of course, a game up on them in the win column. And as of right now, you've got the tiebreaker over the Baltimore Ravens. But you look at Pittsburgh like this: it's one of those where their offense has looked a lot better since Russell Wilson was inserted into the starting quarterback role. There's more cohesion, there's more fluidity, and of course, this Pittsburgh Steelers defense continues to be rock solid. Okay, they go out there, they make the plays, and like I said before, they made life tough for Lamar Jackson today. The Ravens, clearly, if you're Baltimore, you have to be frustrated with the loss, but you're going to sit back and say, you know what? We really could have easily won this game. Uncharacteristically, Justin Tucker missing two field goals today was big. Okay. You look at the Ravens defense, okay, because they came to answer the bell as well. They went out there, and, for me, one of the key plays for the Baltimore defense was late in this contest in the fourth. Pittsburgh had an opportunity to possibly ice this game when Russell Wilson was intercepted deep in Baltimore territory. You think about it, where Pittsburgh went for it on a couple of third downs and a couple of fourth downs, and they were denied by this Ravens defense. So if you're Baltimore, you're looking at all of those things. Lamar Jackson didn't play well. Derrick Henry didn't run the ball effectively, but still, you had an opportunity late to tie this game and send it into overtime. You got the touchdown, but I question that 2 point attempt because first things first, we saw it looked like Baltimore was going to go for a jump pass, and then Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin saw it and called the timeout. But in that scenario, with the failed 2 point conversion attempt, why was Derrick Henry not on the field? Okay, because he gives you a different look, both as a runner and, of course, as a passer. And then, of course, it could be something where the dual threat running option with both Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So I really question why Derrick Henry was not on the field for that key 2 point conversion attempt. But, typically, again, when it comes to Ravens, Steelers, they're always physical battles. Okay. And sometimes one team might not get to 20 points. And in the case of today, neither of these teams got the 20 points, as points were at a premium. When you think about Ravens Steelers, like I said, it's all about the physicality. It's all about field position. It's all about the turnovers, and it's all about making the most out of the opportunities when you do have the football. Very, very rarely in this series, okay, which dates back now about 30 years. And of course, in this division, about a little bit more than 20 years, even before in the AFC Central. But nonetheless, very rarely do you see one team blow out the other. Okay. They're very, very competitive and contentious contests. And I think we saw that again this afternoon. I think both of these teams are going to be in the mix to win the AFC. But if you're Baltimore, I'll tell you like this, you're looking at it right now. If the season ended today, even with their loss, Kansas City, they still have the top seed in the AFC. You got Baltimore at 2, Pittsburgh at 3, Houston at 4, currently the Chargers at 5, and then the Ravens are right there at number 6 with a record of 7-4. And if you're Baltimore, maybe at some point in the season, later in the season, getting into the postseason, in regards to playoff seeding, you're going to look back at some of these games that you blew. Week number 2 at home to the Vegas Raiders, can't have that. Week 8 on the road against the Cleveland Browns, can't have that. And you look at Baltimore's schedule coming down the stretch now. The next indoctrination of the Harbaugh Bowl next Monday night is they're going to be in Inglewood to take on the Chargers. They then host Philadelphia in week 13, the first Sunday of December, before they go into their bye week in week number 14. That's one thing that could help the Ravens, the late season bye, giving them an opportunity to get fresh and rested coming down the stretch. The last 4 at the Giants, home for the Steelers, at the Texans on Christmas Day, and then finishing up at home with the Cleveland Browns. So if you're Baltimore, you've got to go out there and take care of your business. And just as much as we've seen Lamar Jackson dominate the Baltimore Ravens, he has had his fair share of struggles against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And it's one of those same old songs for Lamar Jackson. As good as he is, these top defenses typically tend to give him a problem. We see it year in and year out in the postseason. And it was once again the case today. Pittsburgh pressured him and harassed him all afternoon long. Yeah, the Steelers only sacked Lamar Jackson twice, but it was all about the pressures, disrupting the timing of this offense throughout the day, and you really saw it. On the flip side for the Steelers, you know what? This team just continues to go out there and find ways to win games. Mike Tomlin has clearly not forgotten how to coach, and he's got a team that is once again going to be contenders. Now, for Pittsburgh, though, big test coming up because 4 out of their next 5 contests are going to be on the road. Have a quick turnaround this week. They're at Cleveland on Thursday night before they take on Cincinnati on the road in week number 13. They're one home game over that stretch. They take on the Bengals in the Steel City in week 14. So basically, within 2 weeks, they take on the Browns twice. Excuse me, I said the Bengals, but it's the Cleveland Browns week 12 and week 14 before they're on the road for Philly and then the rematch with Baltimore. And then I talked about Baltimore taking on the Houston Texans on Christmas Day. How about the Pittsburgh Steelers that same day? They host the 2-time defending champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, before they finish at home with the Cincinnati Bengals. So I think things are about to get very, very contentious, not only in the AFC North, but in the AFC as a whole, because you look at it where that loss today by Kansas City to Buffalo really tightened the gap. And you've got Kansas City right there, you got Baltimore, and you got Pittsburgh in that mix. Everybody's duking it out for that top seed. And then Baltimore is, I said Baltimore before, Buffalo, excuse me. So it's KC, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh. But then you've got Baltimore, who's still right there in the mix with Pittsburgh to win the AFC North. But still, they got to get their act together. Right now, you look at it, Pittsburgh definitely has the inside track to win this division. Not saying it's a lock, but nonetheless, you figure Pittsburgh, they're 1 game up on Baltimore in the win column, 2 games up in the loss column, and of course, currently they own the tiebreaker over the Ravens, rather. And then if you are the Steelers, you definitely glean some confidence from today's game. If you're Baltimore, you shouldn't be too down on yourselves because again, Pittsburgh did a lot of key things to go out there and help themselves win. But if you're Baltimore, you're going to sit back and look at the missed opportunities. Justin Tucker missing two kicks. Again, cannot go away from that because that was a key factor in today's game. Baltimore's offense has to go out there and play better. Okay. And again, I think the next time around, it's going to be another competitive and contentious affair. But you know what? It's Ravens Steelers. So we would not have it any other way. Big win today for Pittsburgh. Let's see if they can keep the momentum going. And if you're the Baltimore Ravens, let's see how you get back on track to try to finish strong, not only to try to win the AFC North, but also definitely to get into the postseason. Round one went to the Steelers. There's definitely going to be round two. And guess what? We might get round three in the postseason because if the regular season ended today, Pittsburgh and Baltimore will be taking on each other in the wild card round. One of the greatest rivalries going in the NFL today. It's Ravens Steelers, and it definitely lived up to the billing this afternoon. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.